Welcome to part 2 of how Russia wins the Black Sea War. This war was in episode 90 of WICSO. At the time of filming, well, episode 90 just happened. I just watched it 10 minutes ago, or 20 minutes ago, because I started filming, whatever. But in the last episode, we ended off at Poland. I hope you just watched the last episode. You better go watch it, or this won't make any sense of how Russia is cooking. But anyway, without further ado, I hope you enjoy. We're gonna start exactly where we led off at Poland. Russian troops will continue to push into the Polish nation, now putting them in the verge of capitulation. But they'll stop here. Now they have a full offensive plan into the Farmers' Union. Their troops, some Polish actually, like some from Poland, cross over and begin an invasion of Poland, or wow, an invasion of the Farmers' Republic. Yes, I finally got the name right. Farmers Union just sounds so much cooler, but it is what it is. So now with Russian forces invading the Farmers Union, we have the same whole Greece thing happening. Greece is a powerful nation, so this will put the tables of war even more in Russia's favor. I thought Russia would have had a big advantage with Greece in the real timeline, but turns out Greece didn't do that much, other than get flopped around by Mesopotamia. But Greece is here now, and let's hope they can do better. Oh, wrong alliance. Shoot. This is why I used to do things off camera. My life is so much better. Anyway, forgetting about me and my thingy. Greece is now in the war. That's great for all the Greek fans. This will be a lot easier for Greece this time around, as the Farmers' Union is already getting tumbled. So when Greek and Bulgar troops enter, it's already over. They quickly cut off Bulgarian links to the Black Sea and quickly take this land, now approaching with a massive speed and capturing the Farmers' Republic's capital. Okay, I did it again. Now Russian forces already on the offensive in the north. They are quickly doing Russian stuff. Okay, I need a better description for things. They're blitzkrieging. Blitzkrieg. I don't know how to pronounce that word, okay? Don't believe me. But the Russian blitzkrieg of a farmers' union over, nation fully surrendering to their occupiers. Russia could now send their forces up to Poland, which during this time managed no counteroffensive. Yeah, that's how incompetent they are. But you know who did manage an offensive? The Danzigers. Look at this. Russia just sends a few forces up and quickly finishes off Poland. If you remember in the last part, I had Russia not invade Finland, so a few episodes ago, I had Russia not invade Finland so that Norway would not be coming in. So now instead of having their troops fight off Norway, if they did join, now Russia can send them off somewhere a lot more profitable. Caucasia, but that's not where we're gonna go. We're actually be heading over to Anatolia, because with Russian troops arriving, I'm just gonna do a quick counteroffensive that they managed to place, which captured half the capital. So yeah, Russian troops now arriving, and some Russian troops, some Greek troops actually, and Bulgars. This front begins to turn for the better of them. They quickly push out the Mesopotamian occupiers with great speed and begin it. Oops. Let's make that a bit brighter. It annoys me. They begin and see? I trust your gut, guys. Okay, anyway. With more troops now, they begin an offensive into their once conquerors. The troops now landing on Crete and Cyprus, fully capturing it. Now Now with the forces directly fighting in Mesopotamia, they quickly sent forces away from Caucasia to go figure this out. This leads to a Russian blowout. Russians will come back and capture the rest of the city as well. Let's put that there. Boom. As well as make massive advances on the Caucasian coast. Now it's really looking like Russia can win this war, and it's showing the might of a Russian bear. Anyway, now Russian forces capture the Baku oil fields. You thought I would have mentioned those. Haha. I've been reading World War II books. But the Baku oil fields is very, very rich in oils. What we tell, now that oil is part of a Russian war machine. No one wants that. So anyway, now some of these troops go there, even enter into Mesopotamia. The Mesopotamians are like, yo, this is getting too much. And believe me, it's this many troops coming straight at them. They're getting World War III memories. And with the last city, Caucasia falls. Red Team, being a good nation, doesn't force them not to surrender, but it comes back to bite them. Now Russian troops, for the first time since World War III, enter into Mesopotamia, capturing this city along the coast. And now marching east or westward? I don't know. Eastward, okay. Be a mapper and I don't know east or west. Anyway, in capturing the rest of the Caucasian Sea, the Mesopotamians are like really focusing their military, but they can't seem to really do a counteroffensive because the sheer amount of troops fighting them. The Danzigers are here too. They have two powerful nations, mind you. Greece and themselves, Russia. They have two mid-tier nations, the Anatolians, and they're facing against two powerfuls and a few mid-tiers. So, you would call it even unless you see, you know, the way four vibes. That Russia has unlimited manpower, so you obviously have to remember that. But now with Russian forces being closer and closer to Mesopotamia, we already know who's in whose alliance. Just so we can see the major cities and take off the alliance layers. Russia, but anyway, where was I at? Yeah, Russian forces quickly advance into Mesopotamia, now occupying this much of a nation. They also kind of cut their ally off, but their allies are fighting for their military now. So what these guys do, with now, this is basically what Greek and Bulgar militaries are. They cut the red team's access to the Mediterranean off and begin to pummel it down. Now sending some special forces. This is not them actually, the Greeks. Yes, the Greeks. Send some special forces down to invade Palestine. Never thought I'd say that. Greek forces capture the capital. The nation capitulates now with Egypt. They're not entering the war, but they are sending some troops. But they don't want this to all fall over to them. So they quickly head over and occupy this southern Sinai area. Greece lets them because they don't want to enter another powerful nation's war. So Greece now enters into Mesopotamia. I think they did it last time the coalition were willing. Oops. Greek forces enter in, capturing parts of the Red Sea and pushing it. They now begin to fund some rebels on the purple team to uprise and begin chaos. The red team, these guys quickly link up and begin to make a front. These are simply the separatists who didn't want to be part of this red team nation. So they rise up and like try to set their own nation. Second, they see these guys make a meeting back door. They're like, yeah, hell, we're joining back. But the damage is done. because now with the weak area, they plan to land them since that telephone call, by the way. The Greeks can now swoop in and occupy this area. The Greeks are very happy. Now the red team is looking like they might just fall. And when the strongest member of your alliance is falling, then yeah, you're cooked. Now it happens. No, not the fall of Mesopotamia yet. Okay. What did I do? Oh, look at this universe. The WICSO verse. Anyway, now the forces of Russia have captured these two cities, as gateholder cities in a way. Now they push towards the Mesopotamian capital, making a spearhead that is kind of like the one from World War III, capturing another city on the way. Their allies, in the meantime, start the same thing, beginning to spearhead. These are Turkish forces, by the way. And they quickly and rapidly approach the capital of Mesopotamia. Now, with the Russians also here, the battle for Baghdad begins. Russian forces capturing half the city. It turns out the Mesopotamians actually win this battle and push the Russians back. But hey, they just hit a classic mistake. It's like the Turks are here. So now they have to send some forces there. The Russians are like, yo, they're coming back. And you can probably guess what happens. The city of Baghdad falls to the occupiers. Mesopotamian nation surrenders. After the surrendering of Mesopotamia over to the uh, allies, no, the Russians, the square team, oddly enough, they'll have a meeting. Guess where it is? Yeah, no, it's not gonna be the Netherlands. It's gonna be in Ethiopia's capital. Yeah, these guys just managed to finish him off. Good. So the meeting in Ethiopia's capital will decide what the fate of Mesopotamia will be. And I present to you the Russian order. So firstly, heading over to Europe, we can see that Russia annexed a lot of Poland, and the Danzig country annexed the rest of it, oddly enough. Same down here, the Farmers Union, Farmers Republic of Bulgaria. Same story. Moving over to Anatolia, we see that, oops, Caucasia's still here. Not anymore. Going down to Anatolia, we see that, forgot another capital to erase, my bad. But anyway, down in Anatolia, we see that this blue country was split in half. And, oh, by the way, Cyprus was given to Greece. Speaking of Greece, though, they still occupied this country, what's it called? Levant country. But after that, their occupation's over. They state they'll give it to Egypt, because they don't want the red team getting access or an ally with access to the sea. But anyway, Greece does have a room to stay here because they have a new puppet state down in Syria/Lebanon. These guys annexed the rest of that. Red team barely has coastal access anymore. The Russians, they annexed all of Caucasia and a good portion of the northern red team. Said they would make the entire most of a country into a puppet or next. The red team chose the latter. And this is what we see. The Russians kind of spared them in a bit by leaving this and this open. But anyway, heading down south, we see that the pro team is back, and these two expanded thanks to Ethiopian bargaining. Now this world would have changed a lot drastically. Russia would have probably gone on its way, continuing expansion. Countries like this. Oops. Anyway, countries like this, maybe targeting Central Asia one day, betraying their allies, and maybe eventually crawling back over to Asia. But this is where we end today, and goodbye.